welcome back to my Unsolicited Advice. I am back with another episode, and it is a solo episode. I've had some mental blocks against doing solo episodes, so many of them in a row, and it kind of has led me to this episode, at least the topic of this episode, because I really had to overcome those thoughts to sit here today with you. I, in therapy the other day, was talking about how I've been struggling with the lack of human interaction I've been having in a day, because as you know, I'm in between jobs, and I used to go into an office every day and, have my social time. And now any social interaction I have or time with my friends, I'm literally claws digging into that. And not into them, but into the idea of being social and having people to talk to or whatever. And my therapist literally looked at me and this was like, I wonder if there's a way or an outlet maybe that you can use to take up this energy that you have and to maybe talk to or at that, I don't know, maybe will help you with the amount of energy you have in a day. Maybe a podcast? That's basically what she said to me. And I was like, alrighty, I know, you've got me. And I really just have been having the hardest time getting over the mental block of me doing solo episodes. Not because I don't think I can do solo episodes or that I don't think the solo episodes are good. That's literally the foundation of what this was built on. Obviously I know I can do solo episodes, and a solo podcast is totally doable, and I've done it and I will continue to do it. I just really envisioned with the relaunch of this podcast to be more of having other people on the podcast, it being more conversational, not necessarily interviews, but just having someone else rather than me just spewing and talking to you or at you. While that's literally what this was essentially built on, so I will continue to be doing that. I kind of thought it would be more fewer and farther in between the episodes with guests. However, getting guests right now is something that I'm also struggling with, not actually getting them to agree to it, but more the act of me asking them to be on it. It's I don't know, it's a mental battle I'm having, and I literally think it's the epitome of what this episode is about, and that is imposter syndrome. I think I've been struggling with it for longer than I actually realize. I think it started, honestly, when I was a lot younger. It's I have these two voices in my head. Well, I have many voices in my head, but two of them that stand out the most is one that is insanely confident, my biggest cheerleader, where it's yeah, of course you can do this. You're you. Duh, of course you'd be really successful doing this, or you absolutely can do this, or you will do all these things and accomplish blah blah blah. The thing that keeps me going in the drive, and the voice inside my head that's these are the things that you should or could do. And then there's the other one in my head that's who's gonna listen? Why would you do that? Who do you think you are? What is the point of doing this? What if it fails? All of those things. And I think that is the imposter syndrome within me, that I just dove right into it. But I want every episode to feel this way. But when I do these episodes that talk about the things that I maybe am struggling with, I obviously want it to be raw and real and honest. Of course, I don't want it to ever be anything but that. But truly, I just know I'm not the only one who deals with this. And truthfully, I went on a little TikTok research rabbit hole, just looking at what other people have been saying about imposter syndrome. And it's honestly something that people talk about a lot. It's brought up in media a lot when actors or authors or singers or anyone who's a celebrity or has reached celebrity status is being interviewed, whether it's for press or whatever it is on a podcast. Common question is, how do you overcome imposter syndrome? And there's a lot of people who talk about it and handle it and describe it and talk about it differently. But I've kind of realized that this is actually a way more normalized topic than I had thought. Obviously, imposter syndrome is not taboo. I think a lot of people experience it and talk about it. But I'm like, why can't I sit and talk about it too? Like, here we are, and I'm adding to the list of people who have discussed it. So here we are. That's what today's episode is. I hope that if you're listening, actually, I don't hope. I feel like whoever's listening to this at some point in their lives has probably experienced imposter syndrome at least once. I am constantly battling it. Truthfully, it's crazy because I talk about this a lot in therapy. I feel like that's take a shot every time I talk about therapy. I talk about this a lot in therapy, and it's something that I'm actively working on, which is my brain splits things into black and white. Like, I have a really hard time understanding like the gray area or balance. Like, I think very 0 to 100. Actually 0 or 100. Like, I think very both ends of the spectrum, and I have a hard time grasping the concept of the in-between or the balance, or being able to like both things being true at once. And so, like I had previously mentioned, like when it comes to imposter syndrome, I really truly think my brain is split in half, and it's like one side that's like, no, yeah, of course you're going to be successful. Like, of course this is going to work. And then the other side where it's like, literally, who would listen? Why are you doing this? Like, I have such a hard time getting myself to be the in-between, and obviously work really hard towards something and hope that it works, but also be okay that if it fails, then that's life. It's inevitable that you're going to fail at something at some point, and also failing brings you to eventually succeeding. Like, the more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. Not to be the most cliche person on the planet, however, I've already given myself that title. Like, Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team, so like, yeah, that checks out. Like, you're gonna fail at some point. And so I guess the reason that I've decided to talk about this topic on the podcast is because it's literally the thing that has stopped me from doing this podcast every time I've stopped doing it. Like, I do not want to let imposter syndrome win or self-doubt win when it comes to this podcast. Like, me saying it like this means that I am this, but like in as humble of a way as possible. That does not sound like English, but you know what I'm trying to say. Humbly, I'm trying to say, I truly believe that this podcast can be something. Like, I believe that I have something to say. I believe that I provide value. I believe that I give good advice. I believe in myself and the ability to have a successful podcast. I do. I always have, and I think I always will. But recently, and I guess over the years, as you can see from my inconsistency, like, I have had the voice in my head where I tell myself, or I try to convince myself, who am I to have a podcast? Like, why am I trying to do this? Like, what makes me think that I have any kind of value or knowledge that is worth sharing with the public or with literally anyone? Like, why do I have that? However, I think I recently talked about this in one of my last episodes where I was talking about me getting my life coach certification. And I think by doing that, it's giving me more credibility to having a podcast. However, those two things are not, I didn't do one or the other for the other one, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not getting my life coach certification for the podcast. I didn't start my podcast to eventually get my life coach certification. Those two things just happen to be true at once. But I think that, I guess maybe I've been trying to prove to myself that I am someone worth listening to. And deep down, I believe it, but also I think by trying to prove it to myself, I'm also trying to prove it to the people watching or listening. I don't know. I think I know that this is not something that I'm alone in feeling. I have to assume that everyone, or at least most people, struggle with self-doubt. By dealing with that, it's almost self-sabotaging to the downfall or to the inevitable failure of the thing that you want to accomplish. Because if you are letting the self-doubt get to you, then yeah, of course, if you don't do it, you're not going to succeed at it. So that's why I'm like, well, all these things that are in my head, like, content is content, baby. Like, let's turn it into an episode. Why not? I think that's literally how people have become successful on social media or with a podcast, or, I mean, honestly, in any field. If you like turn the self-doubt into fuel to actually work a lot harder and actually try to accomplish something, I feel like it's more likely you're going to accomplish it, because you're using the negative to fuel the positive, I think, is what I'm saying with that. I guess taking it back one step, for anyone who maybe doesn't know what imposter syndrome is, or is familiar with the feeling but didn't know it had a name, basically, for me at least, imposter syndrome is truly when you feel like you don't deserve the things that you're receiving or accomplishing or doing. Like you just are in a place where you're like, oh my God, I'm actually succeeding at this thing. Like I don't deserve this. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be in this room with really successful people. I shouldn't be getting this job that I'm not qualified for. I shouldn't be this, shouldn't be that. You're doing it. You're already in that position or you're already in that room. So don't doubt yourself. You got yourself there. So now make it count. Be in that room with those people. Take that job and run with it. If you were given a role that you think you're underqualified for, you obviously are deserving of that because you got the role. Now use that role to continue learning, continue growing, and eventually the further you are in that role or in that industry or whatever it is that you're referring to in your imposter syndrome, the longer you're there, the more likely you are to be deserving to be there. Like no one just I'd like to assume no one just walks in to a position or into an industry and all of a sudden is like, yeah, I'm the best person in this room. I am like top of my class or whatever, like in theory. I just don't think that that's what happens. Like you earn your foot in the door. Now walk through that door and continue to walk into that house or into that room or whatever it is and make it count. And I think when it comes to me personally and this podcast, like I'm not going to grow, I'm not going to succeed, I'm not going to gain viewership if I don't keep posting. Like I'm not just going to pop off because I posted one podcast episode and all of a sudden it's like going to be groundbreaking and I'm going to get 1 million followers or listeners or whatever. Like no, that's obviously not going to happen. It's a slow burn. It's usually a slow burn for most things. Not all. Sometimes you get lucky, but I just need to sit and do it. And I've talked about this podcast with a lot of people in my life, friends, family, colleagues. It's now known. There was literally the first 5 years of its existence, I like made it a secret and it was like back of mind. And I thought that I needed some kind of like aha moment or like eye-opening, crazy life experience or topic to be like, yep, this deserves a podcast episode. No, like I just need to just turn on the mic and start yapping. Like I need to take this pent up energy. Actually, it's not really pent up, but like I need to use this drive and this passion for socializing, I guess, and turn it into something awesome. And I'm completely capable of that. I know that I am. So like now I need to literally kick imposter syndrome in the butt and be like, no, dude, don't listen to that. Do not listen to the voices inside your head. Some of them. Listen to some of them, not all of them. Like I have to overcome it. And so while I'm actively participating in overcoming my own imposter syndrome, I want to help you actively participate in overcoming your own imposter syndrome. And basically, I want to talk about that this episode with all the things that imposter syndrome has to offer. And I want to provide some advice or some tips and tricks or all the things that there is to say about it. I guess I kind of want to talk about like what it felt like. I mentioned self-doubt and self-sabotaging. And I think that one of the biggest things this is kind of one of my biggest flaws in general in life is my procrastination. I am pretty bad at that. I wish I could get a better grip on it, and it's something I'm actively working towards improving, but it's, something that I adapted to at a young age, and it's really hard to get out of that. But I do think the self-doubt or the imposter syndrome really plays a role in the procrastination because it makes me scared to do the things I want to do, and then it just makes me not do it altogether. And you can't let fear stop you from doing the things that you want to do. And I have to say that out loud again for myself because it's so hard to get out of that mindset. But you can't let fear stop you from doing the things you want to do. You can't let fear stop you from succeeding. And if you're scared, if it's the fear of failure, use that momentum or use that fear to drive you even more, even further to not fail. And also, what's the worst that happens if you fail? If you fail, you get up, you try again. If you fail, you realize maybe that wasn't right for me. Usually failure leads to some kind of aha moment or makes you want to try harder or try again or try faster, try better, whatever it is. Like failure can't stop you from doing the things that you want to do. If you're scared, do it scared. Something that has helped me when I'm talking myself out of the imposter syndrome mindset that helps me overcome it is honestly just reminding myself that I deserve to be where I am. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't deserve it, usually. Well, when in regards to me, like I wouldn't be doing the things or getting the things or having the opportunities that I have if I didn't deserve them. Now that can't be applicable to everyone and their circumstances. However, I'm not everyone. I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking about me. And I think that you need to remind yourself, if you're in a similar situation, that you deserve to be there. Even if it doesn't feel like it, and it might not always make sense right away, but you're in that room for a reason. You have that opportunity for a reason. So make it count. And by acknowledging that you deserve the thing that you're getting or doing, it has to come from a place of confidence and not cockiness. And I know that that's honestly like not really my place to speak, because some people just happen to be cocky, but I think it's so important to understand the difference between confidence and cocky. I think when I remind myself of all the reasons that I'm deserving or that I'm meant to be where I am, and like this podcast isn't the best example when it in regards to like deserving or like success or whatever, because like we haven't reached that point yet. Keyword. But like in regards to who would listen or like why would anyone pay attention to me, like that's honestly none of my business. Like truthfully, it's not. Like I believe that I have something important to say, so I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it to the entire universe or whoever cares to watch. But like other people's opinion of me is none of my business. So I don't really care if you think I'm deserving or if you think what I'm saying is important or valuable or whatever. Like I honestly don't care, in like the respectful don't care. Like your opinion doesn't really make or break my thoughts about myself or my opinions of myself. Yeah, obviously other people's support is super helpful and I really love and appreciate it. But if you don't think that I'm someone who should have a podcast, then like, okay, like I'd like to see you try. Kidding. But I also have that same mentality when it comes to like living in LA and when I graduated and just like literally crossing my fingers, having hopes and dreams and hoping for the best. And like the jobs that I've received and the events I've gotten to go to and the cool people I've gotten to meet or the rooms I've gotten to be in, like those were things that I've been dreaming about since I was 13 years old. And now all of a sudden I'm living through those dreams. And it's not because I moved to LA and was like, yeah, I'm going to be in those rooms. I'm going to meet those people. I'm going to like have those opportunities. Truthfully, part of me did have that mindset, but that wasn't really how I ended up getting there in the end. Like, I actually think I started having those opportunities and meeting those people when I let go of the mindset of I'm supposed to be in those rooms or I'm supposed to meet those people. Like, I actually got to a point where I was like, I don't really care if that's how my life turns out. Like, as long as I'm happy and I'm surrounded by good, genuine people and I'm doing things that I like and bring me joy, then like, that's all I really care about. And I think there's a difference between that and what my vision of moving to LA really was. But regardless, like when I realized that I didn't need to be in those situations is when those situations started happening. And that's kind of when I look back and I reflect on it and I'm like, so I did deserve to be in those rooms. I did deserve to meet those people. I did deserve to have those opportunities because I actually let go of the really intense mindset of like, I must make this happen, and went into the mindset of like, what's meant to be will be. And then it did. So I guess I really have to be the biggest advocate of reminding myself that I deserve to be in those rooms. I deserve to have those opportunities. And now, am I really talking about anything that's like major or life-changing? No. But like, it's important. Those things were valuable to me. And so that imposter syndrome doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, you don't need to be like an A-list celebrity to be like, I don't deserve to be an A-list celebrity. It could literally be something as simple as getting a job at your dream company. Like, it doesn't have to be anything that crazy, but it applies to everyone everywhere. I think something else in terms of overcoming it, you have to recognize that feeling like an imposter doesn't mean you are one. Sit with that for a second. Just because you feel like you are and you're telling yourself you are does not mean you are. like I mentioned earlier, most people, even really successful ones, have felt it. And so I think that can maybe bring us some kind of peace or comfort in knowing that like the most successful people have felt this and they still are successful. They've overcome it. They've gotten to where they are, and they're doing it with the feeling of imposter syndrome. It's also recognizing that you're feeling that way because you're doing something new. You're doing something uncomfortable. Actually, Mel Robbins was on a podcast talking about imposter syndrome, and she said, if you don't have imposter syndrome, you're not doing anything uncomfortable. And I think that's important to remember, because hasn't everyone always said that in order to succeed, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do something new. You have to try other things or be uncomfortable. Like being uncomfortable is how you succeed. So if you have imposter syndrome, that means you're doing something right. That means you're on the right track. You're doing something new. You're not doing something wrong. I also heard someone else say that if you look at like some big I don't really want to say anyone in particular. There's no one that comes to mind. Well, except for one person in regards to our country. But if you look at someone and you're like, wait, that guy's running a business, that guy's running a company, that guy's running the country. If those idiots can do it, so can I. And that is like, I think that's all you kind of need to remember, you know? Like, that's kind of pretty inspirational in itself. Also, overcoming imposter syndrome, fake it till you make it. It's kind of the exact same thing. Just keep telling yourself you are destined to be successful in this field. You're destined to have a successful podcast, to have a successful social media platform, to be an influencer, to run the country, to start a business. Like, if that is what you think you're supposed to do, then just keep doing it and you fake it till you make it. Like, actually, I think that's my most used piece of advice. I think it is. I think I've said it in every single podcast episode, like honestly, because that's what I'm telling myself over and over and over again. Fake it till you make it. Just keep chugging along. As long as you are moving forward, you are in the right direction, eventually something will come from it. And honestly, lastly, let's just normalize it. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy to feel that way. But also, I do want to say, I did see an interview with Ilona Maher. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm sorry if not. The Olympic rugby player who she's like on Sports Illustrated now. She's really normalized femininity in rugby, and like you can be a rugby player or play a sport that's quote unquote more masculine or whatever and still be feminine and still be a woman. You know what her message is. She was interviewed by, I don't remember what the publication was, but I think she was doing press, and they asked her, have you ever felt imposter syndrome or how do you overcome it? And she literally looked at them and was like, I don't have imposter syndrome. I've never felt that. And they were like, wow, like how does that happen? And she was like, because I worked hard to be here. I deserve to be here. Why would I feel like I'm an imposter when I know that I was meant to do this? I'm supposed to be doing this, and I feel confident that I worked hard enough to be here. I deserve to have this platform. And I was like, wow. Yeah. Loving that. Love that mentality, because hell yeah, girl, you did. You did work hard. You are meant to be in that position. The way that she went from athlete to Olympian to Sports Illustrated like bikini model, yeah, you deserve that. And she has like been a huge advocate for, women across the world. I don't need to go on a tangent about her and her mission, but like her literally looking that interviewer dead in the eyes and was like, I don't have imposter syndrome. Like, I deserve this. I worked really hard to be here. I think we all need to really hone in on that, because I feel like I don't necessarily believe that imposter syndrome is more common in women. I don't know if that's a fact. I can't say that, but I feel like it's probably is. And I think that the secret is just think like a man. If you just tell yourself you're supposed to be there and like you deserve it, because they think I don't want to generalize the male population. Some men think that they deserve everything even when they don't. That really sounded like I was talking about someone specific, or I felt that personally. I think it's just like hashtag I hate men era. That's not true. Don't say that, Olivia. I think we just need to believe in ourselves, honestly. The harder you work, the more deserving you are. Or whatever you get or whatever you receive, you were meant to. Usually. whatever. That's what I think. And that's how I feel. Basically, overcoming imposter syndrome is like not easy in the slightest. I've been struggling with it for years. I literally started a YouTube channel at the age of 15 and was too scared to ever post. That was more for the bullying aspect, but could have been. Regardless, I knew who I was. I knew who I wanted to be from a very young age. Like, this is so on brand. This makes so much sense that now I just need to actually keep doing it and believe that I'm supposed to be doing it and that I'm meant to be doing it, that it makes sense and that I'm deserving. And that if one day it all works out, I hope it does. And I also kind of know it will if I keep going. I can look back and be like, hey, I had imposter syndrome before it even actually worked. And now it's actually working. Hey, so that maybe just means I believe in myself. I think because I do. I honestly feel like that's where I can wrap this episode, because having this like talk with myself, doing these solo episodes where I can just ramble, and honestly, it's like, I'm sure there are so many moments in these episodes where you can literally see my wheels turning. Also, it kind of just feels like one big therapy session. Maybe it shouldn't feel like that because I shouldn't be talking about myself so much. Well, I guess I can. It's my podcast. I always just feel so much more inspired after I do these episodes. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to the day where I can have more people and have guests on my podcast. I am talking to people and trying to organize a time to do it with other people. I have a few friends they're in the works. It's coming. I know it is. Yeah, every time I do an episode, I feel so much more inspired to keep going. So maybe that's the secret to success. Just start. Have you ever thought about that? I hope the people who listen to audio only can sense my sarcasm, because I feel like you need my facial expressions and mannerisms to sense my sarcasm. And I just sometimes get scared that people don't catch it because I have a dry sense of humor. I get that from my dad. Thanks, Dad. Okay, well, that was fun. I think I really rambled my way through that one. I think basically this was one long episode talking myself off the ledge of believing in imposter syndrome. So that's awesome for me. And if anyone out there is struggling with imposter syndrome right now, maybe sit and like make a list of all of the things that you've done and remind yourself that you are that bitch. Been that bitch, always will be that bitch. Is that the quote? Mike the Stallion? I don't remember. I think last episode and this episode go pretty hand in hand, talking about, struggling with comparing yourself to others and watching other people succeed and doubting yourself. Really truly does go hand in hand with imposter syndrome. I think hypothetically I could have made them one episode, but I didn't want to do that because more content. I feel like I'm going to kind of low-key hate this episode, but I'm going to make sure that it still comes out because I need it to. I'm also loving my new podcast equipment, and I'm loving the visual aspect because it's also giving me TikTok content. And if you did not know, I am posting a lot on TikTok, so please go give me a follow. Sometimes I post really embarrassing things though, so like I'm probably gonna regret saying that. You guys are all seriously the best for like actually paying attention to me at all. This episode could very potentially be really hard to watch, and you won't get this warning until you've actually watched it. So thanks, appreciate it. One day I hope I don't look back at these and I'm like, girl, what? But if I do, that's also totally fine because that's growth. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I love you all dearly. You know where to find me. If you enjoyed this, honestly, you don't have to do anything. But like truly, I would love feedback. Like, does anyone actually make it to the end? I'm not even going to ask that question. I don't want to know. However, oh my God, this would be kind of fun. If you watched until the end, you should comment the blue butterfly emoji on any of my Instagram or TikTok posts. What a fun little engagement. I'm sick in the head. I'm literally sick in the head. This is not a trap. Like, honestly, you don't even have to do it, but like that would be so cute and funny if you did, and would maybe make my heart flutter like a butterfly. Oh my God, I can't. I think I'm going delusional. I can't say that. I'm going to say that because I'm the queen of embarrassing myself. Oh my God, I just had another thought. I'm literally tangenting so hard right now. Like when you're doing icebreakers or like on a date or something and someone's like, oh my God, like what's the most embarrassing thing that you've ever done that's ever happened to you? Like, honestly, I think my answer is literally just putting myself on the internet. Like, it's all embarrassing, but I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah, that's now my answer moving forward. I don't have anything that embarrassing besides everything I've ever done on the internet, which is not embarrassing. I'm so proud of it. That's why I post it. Okay. I have to shut this off like 10 minutes ago. We have to be done. Okay, for real, love you all. Thank you so much for listening and watching. It means so much to me. You are all literally so incredible. I need to stop repeating myself. It's just like the gratitude is spewing out of me. Okay, love you. Bye.